on, people of the internet? Xiagax here, coming at you with something new. Yeah, something new. Not working on Borderlands, at least not just yet. Borderlands 2, that is. The first Borderlands, that's all done. That is all said and done with. I have done everything I wanted to do in that game, and I am trying to move on to Borderlands 2. But the thing is, real life kind of takes precedence over video games and YouTube, unless real life were YouTube. I'm not quite at that, I'm not quite anywhere near that point yet. It's a dream though. But anyhow, where did that come from? I don't know. Anyhow, I've been really thinking to myself lately. I have not been involved on YouTube as much as I have been in the past. Although when I look back at some of my older stuff on YouTube, I wonder to myself, what was I thinking? Like, kind of like just commentating over multiplayer, over Halo, or just yeah, stuff like that. Stuff that I thought was good at the time, but you know, right now I don't really have the heart to get rid of it. It's kind of something that I can learn from it, because at least I can look at it and see like, oh my god, that was so bad. Why did I ever do that? But I thought a way that I can get a little bit more active on YouTube, and kind of a way that's a little bit therapeutic, because I'll admit, I have just not really been well mentally. Now, I think I have done a lot of things that have helped me get a little bit better, but a couple of months ago, I was feeling really depressive again. I don't know if it was full-blown depression, but I don't know. It's probably just a bout of just, you're just not feeling the greatest. And I don't know if it's the weather, if it's just not eating right or what, but I've been doing a little bit better, and I think something that I can do to just continue to keep helping myself and just being active on YouTube a bit more is I just need to talk about some world events. There have been some things that have been, I think, well, quite prevalent in the public eye, particularly the election that a lot of the people on the left and a lot of the social justice warriors are quite upset over. But I digress. There's something that actually I saw on Facebook that really, really upset me because it hits really close to home. So you might be wondering, what is it that hits so close to home? And well, allow me to explain. I have actually said on my first channel trailer that I have some degree of, or a mild form of autism. That's what I was diagnosed with. Just makes me a little socially awkward. In some cases, people just don't, I think they in a lot of cases, people don't really understand my humor. I don't pick up on a lot of social cues. But for the most part, I mean, if you really just sit down to get to know me, you're gonna just understand me just like everyone else. But it's usually first time encounters, that's where I have a little bit of trouble, or say for instance sarcasm. If I don't understand somebody's sarcasm, I might be a little upset about it, or I just might ignore it out of just awkwardness. But usually people that know me pretty well tend to not have a problem with me. But the thing is, well, what I read on Facebook was that there was actually a young boy in West Virginia who was in a Thanksgiving Day play, almost said parade, no, a Thanksgiving Day play, almost did it again. But anyhow, in this play, he was one of 3 children that were finishing off the play and just kind of thanking everyone for coming in and attending. And the first 2 kids that were ahead of him got to say their piece, but as he came up, well, actually, I'm actually going to go ahead and let you watch the video clip and see for yourself.
Program. Happy Thanksgiving.
We did. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you for coming.
Why would she do that?
Okay, so from that clip there, you can probably gather that the 3rd student there, that would be the one that I was referring to. I actually went back to the article I found this on. His name is Caleb, and you can tell just by the look and just the way that Caleb sounds when he calls out, "Oh no!" He's pretty upset. And again, I can relate to this, and as somebody with an autism spectrum disorder, whatever you want to call it, nobody can come up with a solid name for it and stick with it. But for me personally, whenever there's always last minute changes to something, whatever it may be, I can get pretty irritated. I can't necessarily handle a lot of last minute changes unless somebody, does a really good job of, setting me on track, and I can actually, handle that and actually not get so overwhelmed. But say, for instance, if I were to sit down and do one thing, and I had no expectation of me doing a task, and I didn't expect it to change, and then somebody decided, oh, well, now we're just gonna, we're gonna just, pull the rug out from under you, and now you gotta, do a whole change up. I'd be a little upset. But if I have at least, a little forewarning, and I know things are gonna change all the time, all right, then I can at least be a little bit mentally prepared, and that I can maybe think that was going on with Caleb right here. But the thing, and I can't even play devil's advocate for this, because the way that the teacher went up and took the microphone away, that it leads me to believe something else is going on. Either they've had a hard time with him, and they just get aggravated with him, and they just gotta find a small way to get back at him, because by golly, he just can't be, he can't be like everyone else. And that's the thing that just really pisses me off, because I had the same thing happen to me when I was in school. Whenever I'd go out for recess, in elementary school, middle school, nobody wanted to play with me. Whenever I go out and play football in middle school with my classmates, they'd always say, "No, you're on their team," and then the other team would say, "No, you're on their team." Basically, they just never wanted me to participate with them. And whenever there was something bad would happen in class, somebody else was being disruptive, well, the first thing they would do, it's Xiagax's fault. It's his fault. It's his fault. That's not my real name, but you can gather what I mean there. People always look to, when they see somebody that is not like them, they're gonna find a way to try to make them as miserable as possible. Of course, another thing I've noticed, especially in school, I see it a lot, especially with Down syndrome. They'll treat people with people with Down syndrome because you can clearly see something's up with them. But with somebody with somebody in the autism spectrum disorder, nope, nobody cares because they don't look different. It's not obvious enough. I think probably the worst thing that came out of it, in my experience, when I was in school, was actually I also had a bladder problem. I had a lot of accidents, and I really couldn't control it. But yet I had a teacher that was just so malicious, because by God, she didn't want to mess in her classroom, even though it didn't really happen there. And it got so bad, it actually got to the point where the teacher was trying to bribe me with Hot Wheels cars. I was really into Hot Wheels when I was a kid, and when that one didn't work, she decided, when I was off to go home, she was gonna let a bus driver know that hey, he's gonna wet his pants. And wouldn't you know, the bus driver got in on it and made me wear snow pants and a trash bag over those snow pants. And I think back to it now, and I just thought, wow, I was really targeted then. I was really made to be the center of attention there, and not in a good way. And I sense this is the same thing that's going on here with Caleb, and it really pisses me off, because how can we treat kids like this? Oh, and out of this whole situation, it gets better. I want to show you a clip. The superintendent was actually made aware of this, and here is his response.
We are aware of it. I have spoken to the principal, and unfortunately, it was a mistake that was made. That there was no malice. This teacher, all of our teachers, truly care about these young boys and girls. The program was over, at least as I understand, and the teacher had taken the microphone without malice, without trying to in any way injure the child or hurt the child or in anything like that. And but if we had to do it over again, probably I think we all agree we would have done it a little differently. That these children are very, very important. Autistic students, any type of student, we want to make sure that all of our students, we embrace all of them, and that we give them the quality education they deserve. And I can tell you this, our teachers, our principals, and our service personnel, all of them care very deeply about these young boys and girls, and anytime that there's at least the portrayal that perhaps they don't, that certainly was not the way that we wanted to portray it today. And I can assure you, the teacher did not mean any malice towards the child. And in retrospect, perhaps we would have done a little different, but it is what it is. Now we move on, and with the understanding that the teacher we'll discuss it with her, and how we want to make sure that we always take the time to show these young boys and girls that we really care about. The bottom line is that the program had ended. The teacher was taking the microphone away, and when the little boy who had a couple speaking parts in the play actually was going to come up after the play was over, and there was some concern about what he would say, and certainly.
All right, I'm going to stop you right here, because I'm going to call some bullshit, and it is just rancid at this point. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate exaggeration of that. Anyhow, back on topic. So, this superintendent, he just drones on for about 20 years. As you can tell, I have to edit the clip about 20 times, because he just goes on forever about how the teacher was not being malicious, and that she wasn't trying to hurt the child, and blah, 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 which is total horse shit. Because, and I'll get to that later. But he basically just gets done contradicting himself. He goes on to say, well, he had some speaking parts there, but we were concerned about what he was going to say there at the end. So, you knew that this teacher was going to do this. And if you go back and look at that earlier clip I showed, you can indeed see that teacher in a premeditated move. She was, going up to prevent him from saying something. And when Caleb shouted out in just absolute disgust, agony, whatever, she doesn't even bother to look at him. She just, totally ignores him. This guy is lying, and he knows it. And here's what I want to know. Why is it okay to subtly bully somebody of a mental handicap? I know the obvious answer is it's not okay, because it definitely isn't. I put up with it for many, many years. But at least I got aware enough that I was able to combat it. I was able to fight back against any abuse and any bullying, and it worked. I'm one of the lucky few who was able to speak up for myself. I don't know about Caleb, and honestly, what this teacher did was absolutely vile and completely malicious, unlike what this superintendent wanted to say, who was clearly covering her ass. And here's the sad thing about this. Stuff like this is going to happen for a very, very, very long time, until somebody steps in and puts a stop to it. Because unlike people who have a different sexual orientation, unlike people of color, unlike people of a different national origin, hell, even people of a different religious faith, they can at least be taken seriously when they stand up for themselves. People of who are mentally handicapped cannot. People don't take them seriously because they think that they're just not mentally cognitive enough to say, when they say, hey, I don't like this. This doesn't seem fair. This has got to stop. And honestly, I don't want to go the whole full social justice warrior, holy crap, full social justice warrior and say, somebody needs to stand up for them. I would very much love for them to be able to stand up for themselves, but unfortunately, I don't think they're fortunate enough to be able to do that. Somebody does need to stand up for those who just need a little bit of help. Goodness knows, I did. I definitely did, but you know what? I was one of the lucky ones. I was able to be a little bit more socially aware and a little bit more keen about when people are being total assholes to me in school. Especially when people are total assholes to me today. I'm at least able to defend myself now when somebody treats me like crap. But the problem is, a lot of these people that are of mental handicap are not going to be able to. All they're going to know how to do is they're going to know just to cry, and they can't stop what's happening. Because people are going to take advantage of the situation. They're going to take advantage of that. Well, anyhow, that's about all I have to say on the matter. It's kind of a bit of a tragedy here. Well, actually, I wouldn't really call it a tragedy. It just kind of sucks in general, but kind of infuriating. But anyhow, that's all I have to say on the matter. And if you guys want to post your thoughts in the comment section below, that would be greatly appreciated. So anyhow, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Oh my God bless you all. I'll see you next time.